So there I was walking up to the event, and honestly, this was so easy to get into. There was only a line of like 10 people when I got here. So they let us in basically right away. And you walk into this room where there's just podiums and people holding a Switch 2. So you get to actually walk up to it, hold the Switch 2 here, and actually check out everything, whether you can pop the Joy-Cons on or off, check out the screen, all the buttons. This is a premium product, and honestly, this is so crazy. Now, I was checking out this little area here where they actually showed everything that ended up coming in the box with the Switch 2. You've got the box here, the dock, the system itself, the controllers, then the little Joy-Con plug that it, like the holder, as well as some straps. And then I got in line to go play some Switch 2 games. This was absolutely insane. They had these curtains that you walked through, and then they were cheering you on to these TVs. At first, it was Mario Kart World, which is so much fun. They had us play both in handheld mode and on the big screens versus two people. And honestly, I had so much fun. I am really excited about picking this game up now, especially after playing it. The controls felt really at home, but there was still a bunch of nuances that were new, like grinding or wall rides. Those were really pretty cool. And I even ended up finishing first, which was pretty awesome. But then we got to go into the next room where they had 24 people and we all played Knockout Tour together. It was absolutely awesome. So I got to play this with a pro controller, and this thing is so nice. The controller itself is like 10 times better than the Switch 1 controller. So I got to playing Mario Kart here, and I played for a little bit, and I made my way all the way up to first at one point during this race. But playing with 24 people at once is absolute chaos. One hit and you're back like 10 spots. Like, as you can see here, I went from first to 8th, and then 9th, and then 10th, and just kept dropping. And unfortunately, while I was doing this, each checkpoint they drop off 4 players. And towards the end here, I was battling between like 10th and like 12th and 13th. And I was kind of right on the cusp of getting out here. This was like 2 or 3 checkpoints in. And right here at the end, I got into 13th place and wasn't able to pass for 12th, which was an absolute bummer. But that is perfectly okay. I kind of stood around and watched a few people at the very end for the final, and it got intense. I cannot wait to play this with friends. And then we went into this next room where there was a 20-minute, yes, 20-minute demo of Donkey Kong Bonanza. And when I tell you this game got me so hyped, I'm going to play this game for way too long. It looks like it's going to be a pseudo open world with obviously things you can do, but a lot of the stuff is completely destructible. So I first started off by just destroying everything in the room that they started us out at, and it was absolutely a ton of fun. At one point, I just started digging down as far as I could, which was kind of cool that you could do. You basically ground pound, and then you can grab rocks as well and throw them around, which I thought was pretty awesome. This game, it's going to be so much fun. I know that everyone's stoked upon Mario Kart World, but I feel like when this game comes out, after a while, you're definitely want to pick this up and you will have a blast. I know I definitely will. Just by playing this demo, I was like, okay, there's no question here. I've got to buy this game. Obviously, the Mario Kart World was a must buy, but like this game was one that I was thinking it would be a ton of fun, but after getting my hands on it, I'm definitely going to grab this game. It just blew me away and was so awesome. I got to kind of screw around for a while here. Like I said, 20 minutes is a long time for all these demos. Some games I played longer than others because I was able to, but for the most part, it was like 20 minutes each time. So playing this and kind of destroying the world was so much fun. You're trying to collect the gold in this mine, and I pretty much barely made it out into the overworld just because I was sitting around smashing things. But then enough about that. here's where I get to play even more games on the Switch 2. Right here, there is a map. They show a bunch of different games, and you got to pick of 6 different ones to play. So right off the bat, I knew the first game that I had to play was Drag X Drive. This game is weird, it's wacky, it's one of those games that Nintendo's pushing, but honestly, I feel like this is totally awesome. To boil this down, this is a wheelchair basketball game. They sit you down here at this table where you use the Joy-Cons, the Joy-Con 2s, and you play them as mice in your hands and you use them to wheel around in the basketball game. At the very beginning here, you can see I was just learning how to actually like run around, wheel around, and it was a ton of fun. My arms got sore, but you get really going fast once you got into the actual game and figured out kind of how it works. But once the game started, I was having so much fun. You kind of flick your wrist towards the goal for a shot, kind of like you would if you were playing like a Wii game with the Wiimotes. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was a very nice way of using or kind of showcasing what these Switch 2 Joy-Cons can do. Honestly, this is another one of those games that I had on my list that I was like, I'm going to buy this. But when I sat down and played this, I realized I'm going to end up playing this way more than I expected to. And I think that's going to be a ton of fun. It's kind of like Rocket League, but with basketball and on wheelchairs, and you use the Joy-Con 2 as mice. It's just one of those things. It's weird, it's wacky, but if you get to actually using your hands and playing this with the Joy-Cons, it's absolutely insane. And then I kind of walked around a little bit here. I wanted to go check out the GameCube section, but the line was way too full. So right next to it was the Welcome Tour game, which I know this is a $10 game that should have been a pack-in, and I'm going to buy it. Let's be real here just to try it out. But this is actually a ton of fun. I think it'll be worth the $10, but I I understand why people want it to be free. It should have been a pack-in for sure. Then I saw some people playing Kirby in the Forgotten Land, even Hogwarts Legacy here. This was kind of when I was still trying to figure out what to play next. There were people playing Civ 6 here, which was pretty cool. This actually looked really well, and it used the Joy-Cons, which were pretty cool. And then my wife was like, hey, I want to play this Hades 2 game. And honestly, this looked so good. I stood here and watched her for a little bit before I dipped out to play something else, and I thought this looked absolutely insane. Now, this was not a Nintendo exclusive, but the second game actually is on the Nintendo Switch 2 as an exclusive, which is totally awesome. I think this is going to be a ton of fun to play. I'm definitely going to play it a lot. I feel like my wife really enjoyed it, so she's probably going to play it a lot, but this was definitely one of those games that kind of surprised me more than I thought it would. Then I played this new Street Fighter game, which I wish I got more footage of, but it's emotion controlled, or at least the demo was, so it was hard to get footage, but it was a ton of fun to play. Then we headed over to play Split Fiction, which was a ton of fun. This game is going to be absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to play it. I love these kind of two-player couch co-op games, and this is one of those that is definitely gonna be well worth picking up. I know this came out on other systems, but I'll probably pick it up for the Switch too. But then that brings me to one of the bigger titles on this video, and that is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I wish I had better footage, but I was playing it in handheld mode with the two Joy-Cons in each hand, and it was kind of hard to film here. So forgive me for the pseudo sideways footage, but absolutely a ton of fun. Then I made my way back to the GameCube section to check it out again, but again, the line was so long. Sadly, I didn't get to play it, but I did stand around for a minute or two and watch some people play some games that are definitely going to be awesome to play on the Switch 2. And I really, really did enjoy watching it. It's going to be so cool. Then I headed over to Yakuza 0 with my wife, and we actually ended up playing this demo and had a ton of fun. I was not expecting to enjoy this game as much as I did. I've never actually played any of the Yakuza games, and apparently this was a prequel, so I might have to pick this up. I'm hoping it's not 80 bucks, but it's definitely a game I'm going to pick up because I was really enjoying it and having a ton of fun. And at the very end, each of us got a Switch 2 bag, which was totally amazing and definitely worth it. This thing looks totally cool, and I can't wait to get a Switch 2 to use this thing. But I cannot believe how amazing this event was. I was expecting it to be a ton of fun. Obviously, I got to play the Switch 2 early and play some new games that almost no one has played. Absolutely insane, but there's some games like Donkey Kong Bonanza that just blew my mind. I'm going to have way too much fun playing that game and smashing things around. Then we've got games like Drag X Drive, which I feel like a lot of people are probably going to overlook, but it's one of those online multiplayer games that's going to be absolutely crazy, especially if you're playing against your friends. Absolutely insane. Now, obviously, there's games like Mario Kart World, which that's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. And then we've got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which is awesome as well. I got to sit down and play both of those games for a while, and I really enjoyed it. But overall, all the games I played were a ton of fun. The experience as a whole was a ton of fun. And this was a free event. Now, I know you had to get super lucky to get tickets. And honestly, I thought there would be a lot more people here. But when I was in the event, there was maybe 100, maybe 200 people at tops. So it didn't feel crowded at all, which was totally amazing. The only place that was a little bit too busy was probably the GameCube section, which sadly I never got to play, but that's okay. I wanted to play the games that hadn't came out yet, so I focused on those first, and then by the time I got to the GameCube, it was too busy to play. But that's cool. I really enjoyed it, and this was absolutely amazing. And I did get a Switch 2 pre-order, so when that comes, you know I'm going to be making a ton of videos about it. But I want to know what you think. Are you getting a Switch 2? Is it too expensive? Will it be worth it? What do you think? Comment down below. Now, I know the prices are crazy and insane and all of that's wild right now, but after playing it, I feel like it is way better than the Switch 1. It felt way more sturdy. Whenever you clicked and unclicked those magnets, that was just crazy. And then just holding the Pro Controller itself, everything about this system feels like what people were wanting when they wanted a Switch Pro, except they made it better than what we expected. So I don't know why people are complaining about the price. I definitely think it is well worth it, especially after playing it. But I want to know what you think. Comment down below and let me know. But I got to get out of here, so check that video out right there. Honestly, an absolutely insane event from a Nintendo, and I had a blast. But I want to know what you think about this whole thing. Comment down below and let me know. But I'm getting out of here, so check that video out if you haven't already.